What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see, when the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host, BKP.
All right, folks, how are you today? I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Wow. I had a late night last night. Come dragging in, right? My grandma used to say, don't come dragging in here in the middle of the night. Dragging in. Do you know what dragging in? Not dragging like dragging. It's all one word. Dragging in, right? It's all dragging in. Like you want to, right? Has your mama name? How's your mama name? That's all. So I came dragging in at 11 o'clock last night. Went over to Flowery Branch, Georgia. The 9th Congressional District Republican Party held a debate for the 9th Congressional District Congress, 3 candidates, and U.S. Senate. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So, let's see. Before I get started, hell did not freeze over. Now, I say that. So, you do know I'm your voice of rural America. Well, actually, you are rural America, and we want to provide a voice. There you go. I'm your host, BKP, and our Vora. Please share our Substack. We do write every day. I do write a column, but the video, let people know, if you read the column, the column is somewhat a summary to the video. I go in much more depth in our podcast here, if that's what you want to call it. But we're on Substack, Vora, V-O-R-A, BKP, at BKP Politics, We're on YouTube, right? Rumble, voiceofruralamerica.com, X, and Facebook. Now, what I'm going to tell you before we start today, hell did not freeze over. I say that, easy. It didn't, all right? And the reason I know it did not is because there's 2 things you're going to see today that you're going to say, well, I'm going to warn you. I know I'm stuttering here, like, get to the point. But I'm going to warn you before it comes up. But trust me, it didn't freeze over. I know what you're going to think. I'm going to give you a chance to brace yourself. Don't fall out of the chair, all the above, but it's going to happen. So we are in, let me get these off. We are in our final legislative week here in Georgia. And today is, what is today? March 24th. So there was no legislative session today. They're behind in committees. They're in different committees and behind closed doors, ripping, taping, marking up, pasting together bills that several will probably be harmful to the good citizens of Georgia. But tomorrow, the 25th, Wednesday, they'll be back in session. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 more days, right? And tomorrow will be day 37. That's the 25th that the Georgia State Legislature will be in session. And then the 26th, Thursday, they will be back behind closed doors, doing it again, making sure And then you'll have the 22nd, the 27th. There you go. Gold Dome. So, moving right along. Now, I do want to say this. Yesterday, we'll get to it in a minute. So, before we get into two areas I want to look at today, I do want to talk about this. I'm disappointed that our lawmakers in Georgia are in such fear of AI, right? That they want to spend more time talking about possibly changing our time change to the Atlantic, right? Standard time. And they've spent this whole legislative session in political stunts, childish fights. Get into that. I don't think we've really accomplished a lot. And our lawmakers are in such fear of AI that there's really not a single piece of legislation or anything they talk about how they're going to handle some things in the future. And this is the CEO of NVIDIA, right? And he said, I think we've achieved AGI. All right. Jensen responded. NVIDIA CEO, Jensen, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He was on a podcast, and the conversation on the future of AI infrastructure, covering everything from chips, racks, cooling systems, and he was asked about AGI. And Jensen responded and said, I think it's now. I think we've achieved AGI. It's worth noting that Jensen has previously stated that AGI timeline depended on how it is defined. Now, let me say this, and the reason I bring this up just quickly is we've spent so much time talking about we don't want data centers, we do want data centers. I'll talk about that hopefully tomorrow. Clawing back all the tax breaks for data centers. But our lawmakers are not spending really any time talking about the actual technology of AI and what is coming down the road in the future. All right? Seriously. And right here, and I just wanted to take a minute before we get in deep in our two subjects today. As of early 2026, artificial general intelligence, AGI, is defined as a type of AI that can match or surpass, human performance across virtually all cognitive tasks, including reasoning, learning, adapting to novel situations without specific training. I just wanted to say quickly, we're almost closing this session. This is coming on us rapidly, and our lawmakers have spent more time playing political stunts and games than seriously what challenges our children in the future. All right. We've talked about literacy. And we talk about funding education. Never talk about this. Now, so the economy. And I'll talk about this a little later. I don't want to put too much time into this. But you're starting to hear stagflation, okay? And you're starting to hear stagflation. And I will say this is not the 2026 Donald Trump economy. It's not. But it is the trying to recover from the 2020 stolen election that resulted in a Joe Biden auto pen economic disaster. It really is. I mean, the deep state corporate corrupt media, they're not going to talk about this, but the money that you find in Minnesota, the money that we're finding in waste, fraud, and abuse in California, it's just the tip of the iceberg. So much money was printed. Things are so far out of hand fiscally in this country that drawing that in is enormous. You're hearing the triple threat component: high inflation, stagnant growth, high unemployment. Now, I'll dig on this a little later, but things have slowed down. Employment, it's taken a hit. It really is. That's why I talk about AI. It's going to further take a hit. Employment is taking a hit. Housing is down. Unemployment is going up, no matter how they want to tell you. Growth is flat. And inflation, they get mad because they say core inflation is down. Well, there is truth to that, but if the war continues to rage in Iran, I don't know financially in this country how we're going to sustain that. So I'm just going to show you a couple quick things. I promise we'll get into Georgia. But, this troubles me because oil prices surge again after Iran denies holding U.S. talks. All right. And then you have this right here. You have Saudis. They are telling Trump to crush. Saudis are telling Trump, crush Iran. Trump on the brink of ground invasion in Iran as Saudi strongman makes astonishing pitch in secret call. Now, keep in mind, Saudi Arabia was the first trip that Trump went on in 2016. Saudi Arabia, Trump went there 2024. Jared Kushner, Saudi Arabia, so on and so forth in the Middle East. Okay? They want us, the Saudis want us to crush Iran. And there's talk of 3,000 from the 82nd Airborne on their way. So here's the last one before I get into my two subjects today. And I promise I'll get there, but I want to talk about this. Trump says Iran has agreed to his biggest demand in unprecedented concessions. Well, Iran says that's not true, but I'm not going to get down that road right now. But Pentagon prepares 3,000 troops to deploy. 580 million oil trades made minutes before Trump's key announcement draws scrutiny. This upset me yesterday morning because Trump knows, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, he knows that when he goes on Truth Social, it says something, markets react all around the world. He knows that. All right? So he goes out there. And this is under scrutiny, whether I'm not being negative. I'm just being truthful. So he goes out there and he says, if Iran doesn't come to these terms in 48 hours, I'm going to bomb every electric power plant. I'm going to take out every possible power plant providing electricity to the country of Iran in 48 hours. Yesterday morning, as the stock market, before it opened, futures were like down 1,000 points. I mean, it was crashing. See, Trump knows this. He's smart. So I was watching Morning Joe. I know you get upset that I do that, but I keep up with the enemy. I'm watching Morning Joe, and they come out with breaking news that he put out a Truth Social that he's going to give Iran 5 more days, and they're negotiating and talking, and it's going well right before the market opens. And the market shoots up. 580 million oil trades made, dollars in oil trades made minutes before Trump's key Iran announcement. Billions of dollars. Just saying. All right. The next time you're at your favorite steakhouse, whether that's Texas Roadhouse or Longhorns or wherever you're at, and the server comes up to give you the check, do yourself a favor. Be nice to the server, one. And as you're putting a tip on there, Texas Roadhouse, Longhorn, wherever you're eating, right? Look at the server and say, hey, how is your stock portfolio doing? Now, on to yesterday. I can't remember the last time. I think the show is amazing every day. I do. I really do. I think the show's amazing every day. I think we have great content. Yesterday, I may have gotten more response from this yesterday than any other subject in a long time. And all of it was positive. I did not get any negative. I have the haters out there. There's those that hate the BKP world. But what took place Friday in Fulton County when the appeals court said, hey, Fulton County does not have to seat Jason Frazier and Julie Adams, I broke that down yesterday. I went through the roof. If you want the full story, now watch the video. Because I write articles, but really we go into great depth in the podcast. So if you're reading the articles, that's great. But go into the video. The Substack is Vora at BKP Politics. Discretionary power or political sabotage, the legal loophole swallowing Georgia's election boards, why your vote starts at the county level, and why the GOP is losing control over it. I've had probate judges, I've had election board, I've had district chairs, GOP chairs, election board chairs around the state, probate judges around the state, and many of you. Go check this out. I go into great detail. Here is Julie Adams, Republican nominee loses fight. Nominees is plural. To sit on Fulton election board. And here is one of the main key players that allowed it to happen, Josh McCoon, chairman of the Georgia Republican Party. Brad Carver, Georgia Republican Party chairman of the Election Integrity Task Force. The two of them, Sally Grubbs, first vice chair of the Georgia Republican Party, they know very well what was about to happen, and they let it happen. And yes, they let it happen. And Max Burns let it happen in the Georgia State Senate. And Brian Kemp signed it. There you go. That's a fact. Everything I said to you is a fact. Now, I'm going to try to be brief, but there's two subjects I want to go into today. And one of them is I'm very concerned on the up and coming 2026 elections in Georgia. I'm very concerned. All right. And I'm going to show you my reason. Everybody out there, they have their data. I'll show you my reasoning. And today is not about Rick Jackson coming out and seeing how many people around the state he can buy to put on the campaign to go work for him. But Republicans are actually so tore up, they are right now, with Jones, Jackson, the Senate race. And what we are seeing in all of these special elections is the performance of Democrats in these special elections. And they're coming out to vote. So here's where I'm getting to. I'm going to show you something really quickly. And here's where I'm at. So we have the May 19th primaries coming up. But first we have the April 7th runoff in the 14th district. Now, Clay Fuller is the Donald Trump endorsed. He made it through 19 candidates or something. Where 16 or 17 Republican candidates, one being Colton Moore. And Clay Fuller, Donald Trump's endorsed candidate in the 14th district, is in the runoff, the Republican. I watched, was it Sunday afternoon, the Loudermilk debate series in the 14th district. It was Clay Fuller up against Sean Harris, right? And Clay Fuller was an absolute, he did a very poor job. The Republican did a very poor job. Sean Harris did a very good job, and all Sean Harris had to do after, and I'm not going to quote it right now, but after the debate Sunday, all Sean Harris had to do was take money that Democrats have in the 14th district, believe it or not, one of the reddest districts, and may have surpassed the 9th in Georgia, but one of the reddest districts in the United States. Democrats have poured enormous amount of money in, and all this guy had to do Sunday is take Clay Fuller's performance in the 14th congressional district race there for this April 7th runoff and just cut his words out and play them back. Where Clay Fuller says basically everything in the economy's been fixed, everything's going great. So one of the reasons that I'm bringing this up is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Absolutely, there's been a mess made. An absolute mess has been made in the 14th district. And now we have, in this district, we have Democrats so fired up. And one of the things that is a concern for me in this race is not that Sean Harris will win, okay? I think Clay Fuller could pull it out, but there are still going to be Republicans on the primary ballot for May 19th in this district. Remember, April 7th is only to fill the term. There's still going to be Republicans on the ballot on May 19th to challenge him in that primary. We don't know if, and it's been kindly radio silence, if Colton Moore is going to go full steam and run against him. We don't know. But here's what we do know. Sean Harris has money. No matter what the outcome is, April 7th, Sean Harris is going to fire up the Democrats in the 14th. He's going to automatically be on the ballot May 19th because that's the Democrat primary, unchallenged. And Sean Harris will be a name with Democrat money, keeping Democrats in the reddest plus R in the state of Georgia all the way to November. So that's one. Now, the reason I'm doing this, and it is because I went to Last night, I went to the 9th District. Now, the 9th District Republican Party, they put on a debate for the 9th District congressional race, has 3 candidates. Now, we have a sitting Congressman, Andrew Clyde, all right? And for my good friend out there that I know what you're going to say to me, but I'm going to put it out. And then we have incumbent Andrew Clyde. And then we have this gentleman here, Greg Poole. This is Greg Poole. He's running for Congress in the 9th District. He is a Hall County commissioner, right? He's running against Andrew Clyde. And right here he is. And he went after incumbent Andrew Clyde. And here is Sam Kuvion. Now, it's real clear Sam Kuvion, the former mayor of Gainesville. Don't know what happened there. Let me get up to that. Sorry about that. Oh, wow. Hold on just a minute. I've got to take all of my pictures did not load. So please give me a 30-second break here, okay? Don't go anywhere. Give me a 30-second break. I did not realize everything didn't load this today. Give me a quick 30-second break, and I'll be right back in just about 30 seconds. All right, folks, we're back. I'm sorry about that. I did not realize all of my pictures did not load. So I appreciate you giving me that brief break. But over in the 9th District, okay, over in the 9th District, Sam Kuvion, the mayor, right here he is. Hold on. This is Greg Poole, Hall County Commissioner. Sam Kuvion, former mayor of Gainesville, is running against Andrew Clyde, sitting congressman. And it's very easy to pick up that Mr. Kuvion was put in. This is my sources tell me Mr. Kuvion is backed by Brian Kemp's political machine. And when the hurricane took place, and Brian Kemp asked for billions of dollars of help in South Georgia, Andrew Clyde voted against that hurricane relief bill, and he has reasons that he said he voted against it. It upset Brian Kemp to the point that Sam Kuvion is in the race. So I won't stay there too long. And here are the 3 of them on the stage. So when the 9th District debate was happening, there was a pretty good crowd. I mean, there was a pretty good crowd. We may have had 250, maybe 250. And that seems like a lot of people, but it's not a lot of people. It's not a lot of people. So Then they had a Senate debate. Now, as you can see, if you can see it here, there's only 2 candidates on the stage. Derek Dooley was a no-show. Now, Derek Dooley claims he lives at Lake Burton. That's his residence. That's in Rabun County in the 9th District. He doesn't show up. John McCollum showed up for the Senate debate. Buddy Carter showed up for the Senate debate. Nobody was there. Place was empty. Place was empty. So Mike Collins doesn't show up, right? Derek Dooley doesn't show up. John McCollum, Buddy Carter did. Place is empty. Now, what I'm getting at here, this is the 9th District of Georgia, all right? Now, we just went through the 14th District. Stay with me. There's a reason I'm going to bring this around of my concerns. So, told you my concerns in the 14th. In the 9th District, Buddy Carter, I mean, he's there. John McCollum, very nice guy, he's there. No Mike Collins, no Derek Dooley. I mean, the energy level. Now, I did not put pictures up. I didn't put pictures up, but Democrats in the 9th District, had a candidate for them Sunday for their Democrats, and the place was packed. It was packed. I could show you the pictures. And I walked out of there last night. This is where I was at, where I drug in late, as I say. But I walked out of there last night, and I got really concerned. I'm driving home, and I'm saying this, I know this is not a true model of Republican enthusiasm, but I'm watching the 14th District. I'm watching the 9th District. Now, here's the warning. I told you this. This is the warning. Got it? Hell did not freeze over. Don't fall out of your chair. Yes, that is Chan Jones. He is the chairman of the Georgia 8th District, GOP District. And that's James Cooper, the chairman of the 10th District. They were up there last night for the debate. And I took a picture. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. I took a picture. Yes, I did. All right. So, but I'm going to say this before I get the emails and the text messages. We were talking last night about actually shared concerns that we're seeing. I mean, if I shut off the conversation with everybody in the state, there's no reason for you to tune in anymore if I shut the conversation off. Seriously. Because I come here fully committed to discuss with you the truth of what's going on out there within the public Republican political circle, and I can't shut the conversation off, and I won't. So we were having conversation, and we have some general shared concerns that we talked about last night. Now, back to the 9th District and the 14th, and what really upset me last night is right here. And I asked AI a question. And you know me, as always, I like being correct. When I ask AI something, I love when AI says, well, you are correct, or you're absolutely right, something. But here is what AI answer to my question. That is very accurate assessment when looking at the partisan lean. and the political culture of those areas. While strongest can be measured by raw vote counts, where largest districts like the 7th sometimes takes the lead, okay? 9th and 14th are widely considered the most solid red because of their overwhelming Republican margins. So what I've always said to you, and it's not negative to my friends in the 1st, the 2nd, the 8th, the 12th, wherever you're at, the 7th, the 11th. But it has always been, and I'm going to show you the changes. This is where the light has to come on, folks. It has always been population-wise because the population in Georgia is north, the red population is north of Atlanta. Yes, District 1 is red, right? Got it. But there's a lot of Republican votes south, but the population and the strength is 9 and 14. And we've always had to have, yes, 11, 7, we'll talk about that, and 3, but we've always had to have 9 and 14 come in record numbers. Trump's not on the ballot. Rick Jackson's not bringing people out to vote. He's not Donald Trump. Right now, we are looking for some way to get people out to vote. And what we are noticing and experiencing, even in the 53rd district, and I'm going to talk about this Thursday night in Macon. I'm going to be down at the Bibb County Republican Party meeting at 6 o'clock in Macon. Bibb County Republican Party meeting, 6 o'clock, Thursday night. I'm going to be there, and we're going to be talking about this. Because this is where lights have to go on. And what I'm showing you is, even in the 53rd district, state Senate district, Colton Moore, there's a Democrat in the runoff, and the Democrat performed better in the 53rd district than they've ever performed over there. And in the 9th district, I was there last night. I think the 9th district GOP did a good job putting on the debate. I mean, but the enthusiasm and the energy level, I came out of there last night and I was like, so while the 9th and the 14th are widely considered the most solid red because of their overwhelming Republican margins, as of 2024, now I'm going to show you something else that's concerning, okay? As of 2024 results and 2025 ratings, these two districts remain the gold standard for Republican strength in Georgia. The Powerhouse Rankings, the Cook Partisan Voting Index, which measures how a district performs compared to the nation as a whole, confirms your point. It confirms my point. They are the only two districts in Georgia that reach or exceed an R plus 17. Only two. R plus 17. The 14th district, R plus 19. The 9th district, R plus 17. Now I'm going to show you something here. I mean, if we don't get our boots on, strap them up, tie them, and I mean, so the 2020 redistricting cycle. Now pay attention to this. This is very important. This is why what happened Friday in Fulton County with that judge and Max Burns and the bill that passed with the probate judges and us not correcting things at the county levels for as much energy as we put into state election board meetings, paper ballots, the 2020 redistricting cycle. And the reason I bring this up, because there'll be a 2030 redistricting cycle, but we're talking about 2026 right this second. The 2020 redistricting cycle, which actually took place in 2021. We know that. That's a long story. It was a fascinating game of political chess in Georgia. Talk about that a little more in the future. While both the 9th and the 14th remained incredibly safe for Republicans, their strength was actually shifted to shore up other districts that were becoming too competitive. So I'm going to show you the switch. In simple terms, the R plus lean in these two districts were intentionally lowered to move reliable Republican voters into neighboring districts that were at risk. The partisan lean shift, okay? The 9th district in 2022, all right? In 2020. In 2020, before the redistricting, the 9th district was an R plus 30. It had to drop all the way. Watch. In 2022, it dropped 8 points to an R plus 22. Now, 2020, R plus 30. 2022, R plus 22. We had to carve out the 9th district to create what? The 7th district? To keep a Republican district there? And to save the 11th district. Absolutely. Now, look at the drops. Here's what I'm about to show you. Now, that also, number 30 here, what do we got here? District 7, 2024. District 3 and District 11. We had to slice out to keep these districts strong, and look at what we diluted in the 9th and 14th. Now I'm getting ready to show you one more. Well, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Let me go back. So you got an R plus 30 in 2020. It went to an R plus 22. But in the election, it got reassessed, right? In 2025, after the election, it was reassessed at the 14th, went to an R19, and the 9th went down from an R22 to an R17. Now, you staying with me on that? That's why these two districts alone and the decline in these districts are so concerning for me of what I'm seeing right now with us going into 2026. If we do not wake up to these facts of what's going on and what's around the corner in 2030, not just 2026, I can't say it right now. Now, here's the second one for the day. All right, and I'll go back to that in a minute. The first district. Do not, under no circumstances, do not fall out of your chair. Do not. Don't do it. You'll be okay. And hell did not freeze over. But the first district, I made some phone calls. I talked to some people last night. I made some phone calls today. I've really dug into this first district. She has a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. No, hell didn't freeze over. But my obligation to you, the audience, to bring you the truth, no matter how painful it may be, you can count on me, BKP. Well, that's pretty good. Anyhow, Candace Taylor stands a chance. I have talked to people and talked to people. Is the third time a charm? She ran for U.S. Senate. She ran for governor. Then she ran for 1st District GOP chair. She won that. And now she's running for the congressional. She doesn't have the money. Now, the other guy is Jim Kingston. And the reason I'm bringing this up, I have, from boots on the ground in the 1st District, and people I know that have worked politics in the 1st District for years, that I know for 15 years. I call them up and I say, tell me about the 1st District. And here's my question. Does Candace stand a chance? Individual told me this morning, said, yes. I would not have, and this is what was told me, I would not have said this to you 6 months ago. But everywhere I go, and this is an active political person, everywhere I go, people are telling me I'm voting for Candace. And I have to tell you, I think she stands a chance. I was with someone last night, and I said, hey, you know that area down there. Does Candace stand a chance? Absolutely. But the concern there was she would get in a runoff with Jim Kingston and not have the money. So hell didn't freeze over. I'm just telling you, Candace Taylor has a chance in the 1st District. Now, here's where... Could you give me just a second? Give me a second. I have to be... Give me a second, will you? This is difficult. If your choice is to send Candace Taylor to Congress or Jim Kingston, send Candace Taylor. Serenity now, Lord, serenity now. Do not send Jim Kingston. If you're going to send someone in the 1st District to Congress, send Candace Taylor. Do not send Jim Kingston. Jim Kingston is everything and above what I have always preached. Should I say preached? Or Jim Kingston is everything and above. And here's what I'm going to tell you, okay? I called another person. I've been on the phone. That's why I'm late today. I'm late because I spent most of the day, hey. So I spoke to someone today, and I said, well, what do you think of Jim Kingston? Well, we all know that's Jack Kingston's seat. And that's his dad. Jack Kingston was the congressman of the 1st District for 22 years, right? I did a full series. Go in Substack, go back a couple, you'll find. I did a full, complete Friday. I think it was last Friday, I'm not for sure, or Thursday. I did a full, complete breakdown of Jack Kingston, Jim Kingston. This guy is a Washington, D.C. swamp rat, and he is, and you could go look this up, it is one of the largest, most influential lobbying groups in D.C., Squire Patton Boggs, he's a principal there, and this is one of the most powerful guys in D.C. Jim Kingston is an extension of Jack Kingston, and this young man, you would be basically just having a leech lobbyist sucking on the 1st District in D.C. Candace stands a chance. One more time. Nitro. Give me some of that nitroglycerin. We got that nitro I can put under my tongue. Send Candace Taylor. Don't send Jim Kingston. All right, moving right along. Now, just so before we go, lawmakers, instead of election integrity, instead of our election boards, instead of so many things they could accomplish right now, the Georgia Senate votes to move the state to the Atlantic time zone. Well, and then I'm going to cover this hopefully tomorrow, right? Tomorrow I'm going to cover it, but the Chamber of Commerce, and I knew this was coming down to the wire. I always know what's going to happen, all right? 3 or 4 days before the session ends. It's how we compete. Georgia business recruiters plead to keep tax breaks. So that's the Georgia Chamber of Commerce. They are pleading with lawmakers under the Gold Dome, don't touch any of the tax breaks. That's how we do business. But I thought clawing back those tax breaks is how they were going to alleviate your property tax and your income tax. We'll talk about that a little more. And how about this one here before we go? Delta said they suspended travel perks for members of Congress. So used to, you're a member of Congress, you got to get back to the swamp. You could just go to the front of the line, and that was a little perk. Delta said not anymore. Nope, you cannot do that. So, for those of you that may have missed it, number 8, let me close here. This was one of our, when I say most popular, this is a Substack, Vora at BKP Politics, discretionary power and political sabotage, our county election boards, what's happened. That was a popular one. And then I asked you not to fall off your chair. I'll do it one more time. Take a deep breath. Yes, that is your host in the middle with Chan Jones, 8th District GOP Chair, and James Cooper, 10th District GOP Chair. And we had a cordial conversation about, and I told them, here's one of the jokes, okay? There was other people around, and they wanted me to get in a picture, and there was 2 or 3 people there that know that I don't go take pictures. I tell you that all the time, because before you say, wait a minute, I thought you told us you don't go and do those pictures. They did. I was getting a little, come on. But we were productive talking about common concerns. And I will tell you that. You may not like it. Also, I want to tell you 2 people I met last night. I met Jason Black. He's running for state senate against Frank Ginn. Now, a lot of you out there are not happy with Frank Ginn. So here's your chance. Georgia State Senate District 47, Jason Black, State Senate. I met him last night. I don't know him very well, so that's not an endorsement. But for those of you that are not happy with Frank Ginn. And I tell you what, I met Caleb Conaway, the Georgia Republican Party Executive Director. I met Caleb Conaway last night. He was there. And I told him point blank, I was straight. I'm going to be straight here with you. And I told him, I said, look, he handed me his card. And I said, I don't know if you want to let Josh McCoon know that you even shook my hand and said hello. Do you know who I am? You know, like, he handed me the card. He said, call me sometime. I actually like the guy. Caleb Conaway, Georgia Republican Party Executive Director. Don't know a whole lot about him, but I enjoyed meeting him. And then here's the other one. Just, all right, right there. That's Jim Kingston. All right. Now, he's got a lot of money, so if there's a runoff, and Candace Taylor. So, let's see. I'm your host. Now, if you want to, let me put it like this. If you want to get your campaign, if you are a candidate out there and you want to get what we call your, where's that at? I was just there. Get rid of that. Hold on just a minute, folks. If you want to get your campaign card, you know, before and after the program, just let me know, okay? And we'll get you to the marketing department. I do not endorse any candidates, but we are having candidates ask, hey, how can we get on the podcast? I have a lot of people wanting me to interview candidates. If you want me to interview candidates, let me know, but I can't do ice cream, what flavor ice cream candidate interviews. So you might want to be careful with that if you do. But if you want to get your name on here, just let me know. I will see you tomorrow. Have a nice day. God bless America. Hey, Thursday night, 6 o'clock, Macon. I will be at Bibb County GOP, 6 o'clock.
What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see, when the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host BKP.